I don't mind what I get in my box because I can adapt to it. I can find a recipe and change. Helps your diet because sometimes you want to eat meat and sometimes you don't want no meat. You just want what's in the box. So your body is adjusting. Oh, it smells so good. Fresh frosting. So you know how the food channel, they have the surprise box for cooking? This is it.
Recipes aren't the only things Deidre has to figure out lately. COVID-19 has made getting food more complicated. For her, a bus ride to the grocery store now carries a risk of getting infected.
When COVID-19 first started, I was here with my daughter and her 5 kids in a 1-bedroom. Luckily, we had enough of groceries. So if you schedule yourself to make groceries in an hour's time at the grocery store, and then you have to make sure you get back to the bus stop on time to catch the bus, or you got to sit there another hour to catch the bus home.
COVID-19 has exacerbated an issue that's been around for years: food insecurity. Before the pandemic, 1 in 7 Texans did not have consistent access to food. But layoffs and furloughs have increased demand at places like the Central Texas Food Bank.
Let's start with typically what we have as a baseline. Pre-COVID, as the largest hunger relief agency in Central Texas, we were distributing food to around 50,000 Central Texans every single week. But in April, we saw pretty much a fairly significant increase. From March to April, we saw literally across our 21 counties, we saw a 45% increase in those served. Now, if I narrow it down to Travis County, something that was particularly interesting, we saw a 200% increase in new clients.
Finding fresh food is made even more complicated for people like Deirdre Laban, who doesn't have access to a car.
You have to find a program that can help you. And right now they have drive-thrus. So you got to be in a car to even go through drive-thru. So if you don't have a friend with a car, you can't even go through drive-thrus to get what you need for free.
That's why Laban looked to Go Austin, Vamos Austin for help.
So when Gava called, I was glad because I don't have to worry about catching the bus nowhere. I don't have to worry about getting a ride to go nowhere. They'll deliver it to my house. I just pay for it in advance. And I got vegetables and fruits that came straight from the garden, and I could enjoy it without missing a beat.
Carmen Pulido is the executive director of Go Austin, Vamos Austin. This nonprofit helps increase access to healthy food in Austin neighborhoods that have a limited number of supermarkets or fresh produce.
A lot of the communities we work with have been disproportionately hit by COVID-19, by the economic crisis, by the reopening and the risks that it involves. And so it's tough when you find yourself swimming upstream.
We go back to access to resources. With that fear of not wanting to go outside, you're running on the option of, do I even go get food? Or the fear of losing your job. Am I going to be able to pay rent? So if you get, the stimulus check, do you pay your rent or do you get food?
Gava's food delivery didn't just start with COVID-19, but it shifted into a new gear in the last few months.
This produce delivery pilot was something that kind of came really in handy during a pandemic where we saw the need and we had to kind of adapt a lot of our previous deliverables to make it happen. And we started seeing how folks were coming together and even sponsoring each other. So the model that we have for this produce delivery is a pay what you can model. So even if you can't afford a box of produce, folks are, they will still receive a box. And what we started realizing and seeing is that neighbors were coming together and saying like, I'll pay for my neighbor if they can't afford it.
While groups like GAVA and the Central Texas Food Bank have worked to meet current demands, most nonprofits are bracing for increased demand through the summer.
There are some external or economic factors that we have to take into play. The PPP loans, the small business loans, where if you don't lay off any of the employees, those loans are forgiven. Well, that's going to run out this month. We also have our friends and neighbors who have been fortunate enough to receive either stimulus or employment checks. We're planning for that to potentially end during sometimes toward the end of June.
I've seen so many food drives pop up and so many, food delivery you know, services. I don't want them to go away. I want we that is one of the inequities that we saw before this pandemic.
As everyone prepares for an uncertain summer, community groups are trying to tackle it in the same way they've tackled food insecurity before, together.
But I would just say the disproportionate impact financially to our folks and the uncertainty ahead of all of us is probably the hardest part. So we just have to lean on each other.
I just want people to know there's plenty programs out there. Just don't go through this by yourself.